I was trying to fly it so I can just get some hours on the TAA for towards commercial.
Right.
And I thought, well, if I buy into this, then I won't have to worry about that.
There you go. You'll have all the complex time you need.
Yep.
Tower traffic after 544, clearly active in Alpha 3 South Valley.
All right. So we got the weather. I'm not used to this shorter run or the checklist, you know. I have to go get me a good one. And
Yeah.
I usually make my own.
We can definitely kind of supplement if we're missing anything on that
South
checklist.
Valley Archer 544.
Mixture full rich.
Alpha 3 for Bravo to Randon Aviation, South Valley.
Prop, let's see, prop full forward. Throttle 1800. This is more accurate, I'm assuming, than...
That's all you got, actually.
Oh. Some of the pictures on KSL actually had the old one here, so I was assuming...
Oh, really?
Yeah. Alright, 1800. Okay. Check magnetos. And so we're not setting the mixture like you talked about.
Correct, yep.
That dropped about 110.
Yeah, that
was a little rough, huh?
Yeah, let's go back to that left mag for a second. I'm not very excited about that.
Yeah, that doesn't sound good. If I go to the right one, that sounds a lot better.
The right mag's fine, but I think...
Yeah, that doesn't feel good.
No, I'm not excited about flying that.
Yeah, me neither.
I'm
not a risk taker.
I was wondering if maybe it was just that the plugs were, the spark plugs were a little fouled, but let's... Just gonna run it a little hot here for a second. Get that temperature up.
This is gallons per hour down here.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to bring this full rich again. We'll come back up to 1800. Yeah, foul plugs. All right, I'm feeling okay about that.
Yeah, that seems better.
Yeah, we just had a little bit of foul carbon.
So you just lean it, and run it a little hot, get the fuel out of there.
Yep, you're just, so, there's that small gap between the spark plug, and it's probably got a little carbon buildup in there, so you run it hot and burn that carbon off.
Okay, and then check idle. Still running. Okay. That's it for the checklist.
Yeah, so that's pretty cruddy. You're right. So we'll just take it back up to 1800.
Valley traffic wind 00 Delta Papa. Take
a look at oil pressure, oil temperature, cylinder head temps look good. AGTs and cylinder head temps and the suction gauge looks good.
How do you go through? So this is showing what right now?
So right now this is showing cylinder 4. That's the EGT and that's the cylinder head temp. Now we're at cylinder 5.
Oh, and it just rotates through it.
Yep, and it's just cycling through right now.
Okay. Vacuum looks okay. It's at about 5.
Yep. And we didn't even check the ammeter.
Oh yeah. So which side do I turn off? Let's see. Battery, this right side, right? Where is it?
oh, there it is, volts and amps. So 14 volts right now. Push it over the amperage side. Okay, back down to 12.
Yeah, it's
Down to 6, back up to, whoa, yep, 22 amps. All right, cool, that looks like that's working.
okay.
Okay, so you'll notice, see how this says auto extend off and it's flashing at you?
Yeah.
So right here, do you see this little pin?
Yeah.
So if we pull this thing back, that pin slides out, and now the auto extend feature is active.
Okay.
It will extend the gear.
Okay.
So I like to fly with it inhibited. So you push this thing in, and that pin just holds it in place, and this thing's blinking again. Hey, I'm not going to auto extend on you. Say thanks. I'll control my own gear. Thank you very much.
Okay.
That makes sense?
And that's how you manually let it down?
Correct.
Okay.
So if we had to, we'd just pull this back, the pin would slide out, and then we'd push that all the way down where it says emergency.
Yeah.
And then it pushes all the pressure out of the system. It should free fall back into place.
And do we take this off with flaps?
You can, yeah, up to 2 notches of flaps, just like the Archer. It's up to you.
I never did flaps with the Archer.
Yeah, we could take off with flap 0, or if you're looking to make it shorter, the POH says we can take off with up to 2 notches. So,
yeah, we'll try it. We'll try it, no flaps. Okay. Let's see, what else do we normally check? And all the things are in. Which one is the gear? Right there, and you can pull it?
Yep.
Okay.
So this is what I was talking about, like that's what I had where, I mean, there's nothing you can do, you can't get that circuit breaker out, but these have been replaced for the most part with real circuit breakers.
Where's the autopilot one?
So let's see.
I'll have to look,
Audio, comm, GPS, transponder, radio lights, attitude, HSI, GAD. You could probably pull the pitch trim, that would probably do it. So here's the autopilot, you actually can't pull it. Guess you could pay an avionics tech to fix that.
Okay. Alright. So we good for run up then?
Yep, I think we're done.
Alright. South Valley traffic, Arrow 28, Mike Charlie is taxiing to hold short for runway 34, South Valley. One nice thing about the low wings is you can actually see.
That is true. Bummer is with the retract, you can't see if your gear's down or not.
Yeah. Alright, I don't see or hear anyone coming.
Okay.
So what's rotate speed?
So rotation in this one's probably going to be pretty close to 65 to 70 knots, and then climb out's probably going to be 76. Let's just double check those numbers before we go. I haven't flown an Arrow in a little bit. Does it have anything on there? We could check the manufacturer checklist. That one might be a little better source. So 70 to 77. Looks like that's rotate.
Got miles per hour? Nope, knots.
And then 70, looks like 97 is best rate supposedly.
Okay, so 75 basically and 100, huh?
Yep, pretty close.
South Valley traffic, Arrow 28 Mike Charlie is taking off on runway 34, South Valley.
Okay, so really nice, smooth, slow advancement of that throttle because that turbocharger is going to be kicking up, right? And if you slam it forward, the turbocharger lags and then catches up and it'll overboost for you. So you got to kind of keep one eye on the runway and one eye on the manifold pressure. We want to take it up to about 30, 32 inches of manifold pressure, right?
30, 32.
Yeah. Yeah, there we go, right there, 35, we'll keep it there. I think 40 is max. Airspeed's live, engine instruments are on the green.
Yep.
And she wants to fly. Okay, we're just about out of usable runway, so we're going to go ahead and pull the gear out.
South Valley traffic, now 497 is on the 5 mile final runway.
Get the gear on safe light, and then it should extinguish. When it's up, life's good.
All right.
Up to 5,600. Let's depart the pattern off the crosswind leg towards the northwest.
All right. South Valley traffic, Aero 28 Mike Charlie is turning left crosswind for runway 34, South Valley.
So from here, we're just going to start inching back that manifold pressure little by little till we're about at 25 inches.
And that's the throttle?
Correct.
Is on the 3 mile short final runway 34, touch and go.
Ah. Can't see. Okay. Till we get to what?
Go right there, 25. See
25,
how
okay.
quickly that comes back? So
Yeah.
we want to just kind of slowly, kind of incrementally pull that back.
South Valley traffic, Aero 28 Mike Charlie is leaving the pattern on the crosswind towards the northwest over Magna area.
Radio check, loud and clear.
So that electric trim should work for you too, right here. You have to push down and then roll it forward or back, just like a trim wheel. But you have to push the top down at the same time that you're pushing or pulling.
So if I want it to pitch up, I pull it back?
Correct, yeah, it's just like a trim wheel.
Okay.
South Valley traffic, Musketeer 761 Romeo, taxiing Bravo.
That's just annoying.
South Valley.
More trouble than it's worth, eh?
Yeah.
So we're just going to stay below 6,000 here.
So, adjusting the propeller, what do I want to look for here?
So this will just be RPM, right? So maybe pull it back to about 2,500 RPM.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of a little bit of a cruise there, 24 inches and 2,500 RPM. Well, that'll work great. So we can come up to 6,000 now. Can you see the border here? Yeah. Right here on this side, it's below 6. Through here, it's not to exceed 65. So we can go up to 6,000 here.
Okay. It just wants to climb.
Yep, she's got a lot of power, so just use that trim wheel.
Traffic.
If the electric trim's not fast enough for you, you can just use the...
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It doesn't trim it very quick.
Sure.
So on my right foot rudder, it feels like every once in a while like something's shaking it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, do you feel that? It's not doing it right this second.
Well, if you notice it, let me know.
South Valley traffic, Aero 28 Mike Charlie is at 6,000 feet over Magna heading northwest towards Garfield Stack, last call.
South Valley traffic, Cessna 162 Papa Tango is taxiing on runway 34 for departure. Going to be departing the pattern off the crosswind into the west, South Valley.
That's where my parents live, Magna.
Oh, really?
South Valley, Cessna 497, turning left crossing runway 34, remainder of the pattern.
It's a little cool, huh?
Yeah, I can feel this door's leaking a little bit. Not the end of the world, but usually honestly, most students are over there freezing to death, or roasting to death because they're all nervous, and I'm over here freezing. But they're sweating, we're working hard. The flight instructor's got his gloves on and scarf. You're like, would you mind if I turned up the heat? They're like, dude, I'm dying. I'm working hard over here. You're like, all right. I'll just freeze to death. No big deal. So for the most part, it's going to handle a lot like the Archer that you're used to. The T-tail is going to be a little bit different, but you're not really going to feel that significantly until the landing phase. You'll feel it a little bit as we practice some slow flight installs. What I've experienced with a T-tail is they generally kind of just quit flying at a certain speed, and you'll feel it. It kind of feels like the bottom just kind of comes out of it. I want to say that happens a little under 70 knots, maybe 65, 60 knots, where it just really feels like the tail kind of drops out from underneath you. It's not scary, but you can feel it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Southbound traffic, Cessna 162 Papa Tango, turning crosswind, runway 34, departing on the crosswind, Southbound.
You could probably make that left turn. Like Tooele's ready to go there.
Oh, you got the frequency in there for me?
I didn't put it in there, but it looks like Jay was out here at Tooele.
That's where we flew last time.
Oh, all right.
So. Tooele traffic, Arrow 28 Mike Charlie is at 5,900 feet by the Garfield stack heading west over I-80. Gonna do maneuvers when we get over towards Tooele.
We can probably lean this out just a little bit here. We're probably...
What am I watching when I lean?
Yeah, so we're looking for how many gallons per hour we're burning.
Yeah.
And then we'll also kind of take a look over here at the cylinder head temps.
Traffic, Skyhawk 172 Romeo Victor, 5,300 will be entering the downwind, Tooele.
Tooele traffic, Arrow 76, this is Charlie, 3 miles east of the field.
Yeah, so that looks like you're running at about 60%, 55%, which is pretty good for cruise. You're burning about 8 gallons an hour. That's fine. Okay. Your cylinder head temps are at 310.
7 northwest.
Oh, that looks good. 275, 254, plenty cold. Might even be able to get it back a little bit more. Try and save you some cash there. Obviously, when you're cruising, you know, you'll actually set it per the book where it'll say, okay, you should have, you know, if you want to do 75% power, it'll be 26 inches of manifold pressure and 2,500 RPM, and this should be your fuel flow, and you'll just set it per the book settings.
Okay.
When we're just out here kind of messing around, you're just going to say, oh, yeah, about 55% power, looks pretty good. Monitor, cylinder, and EGT.
This little block here, what's the altitude?
I want to say it goes up to 8,500, something like that.
172 Romeo Victor is on the 45.
That could be.
I always look on my iPad.
Runway 35, Tooele.
86 to 12.
Tooele traffic, track 272 Mike is turning left crossing runway 35, Tooele Valley.
Want to get up higher?
Yeah, we can climb up to 65 or 7 to...
Okay, so if I want to climb, do I push the prop up?
Yep, we'll advance the throttle.
All the way?
Correction, the prop lever. Yep, gives you another 120 RPM. And then in this case, we've got about 26 inches. We don't need to climb crazy. I mean, if you really want to climb it, I'd probably advance the throttle and let it go. But, you know, 500 feet a minute, it takes us a minute or two to climb up there. End of the world. That way we don't have to keep backing down the turbocharger little by little again, because we're kind of in that non-turbo range already.
Okay. Oh yeah, because we're at 24.
Yeah.
Traffic November 145 for uniform Cessna Skyhawk, 7,500 feet. We are about 7 miles north of Tooele Airport. We'll be heading eastbound for I-80 transition. Tooele traffic.
Tooele traffic, Arrow 28 Mike Charlie is also about 6.5 miles north west of the field at 6,200 doing maneuvers.
172 Romeo Victor is turning left base, runway 35 to Willow.
Looks pretty low. I don't remember it being that dry.
Yeah, it's been like that for the last few months that I've been out here. I did an engine failure on a guy in an Archer.
November 145 uniform, 7,200 feet. We're going to be holding this altitude until we pass the aircraft that is heading eastbound over I-80 transition, full of traffic.
What altitude did he say it was?
I didn't hear.
Traffic, Sky 272, Mike, take a right 360 for spacing, Hill Valley.
We should have, well, if you had your iPad connect to Wi-Fi, you could get
Area traffic, Skyhawk 172 Romeo Victor is turning final runway 35 to Willow.
That's got to be him.
Area traffic, Cessna 172 Romeo Victor will be a touch and go runway 35 staying in the pattern.
Oh, my iPad's almost dead. That's not good. Should have thrown it on the charger.
Air traffic, Sky 272 Mike, modified base to final, runway 35, power off on any.
Now it's getting warm in here.
Well, there's us. Let's see if it gives me, yeah, there's our traffic. Cool. Alright, we're getting west of the field here. Let's just kind of maneuver kind of over here, maybe over the EVAP ponds. We'll see if anybody's here.
Alright.
Yeah, just north of Grantsville, I guess. Well, you can stay here at 7 for now.
Alright.
Probably, well, actually, we're just about to maneuver, so we'll leave those props forward.
Area traffic, Cessna 172 Romeo Victor is turning left crosswind, runway 35 to Willow.
Tooele traffic, Arrow 28 Mike Charlie is 6 miles northwest of the field at 7,100 during maneuvers.
Okay, so let's start slowing the airplane down here.
Charlie, 3 miles east of the field, 7,800 maneuvering to us.
So let's start slowing the airplane down here. We'll transition into a little bit of slow flight.
Okay.
So we'll hold our altitude, use the trim as necessary. So the maximum gear extension speed is 133 knots. So we'll verify that we're below that, which we are. We'll go ahead and get the gear down. Now you leave your hand on it until you see 3.
Oh yeah.
Area traffic, Skyhawk 172 Romeo Victor is downwind, runway 35 to Willow.
And we're in the wide arc, so we can start bringing some flap in here.
Okay.
So you pull the power back and she really wants to start coming down. So if you need to start adding some more power in there, that's okay.
That's power for altitude and pitch for speed, right?
You got it.
What's the speed I want for slow flight?
So let's slow down. Let's get it to about 70 knots for right now. So you can keep bringing flap in if you need to. It'll probably help with your pitch attitude.
Traffic, Sky 272 Mike, turning left crosswind, runway 35 is 12 Valley.
don't know how accurate that ball is. Feels like we're turning, but it stays in the middle.
Yeah, looks like it's pretty close there. Let's see if we can slow down that last 5 knots there. Get it down to 70.
Area traffic, Skyhawk 172 Romeo Victor is turning left base, runway 35 to left.
Okay, let's just keep it here at 6,800 feet.
272 Mike, downwind runway 35 to Valley.
Let's keep it here at 6,800 feet, and we'll maintain 70 knots. Why don't you give me a left turn towards the east there, and you can see how this thing feels in slow flight.
Area traffic, Skyhawk 172 Romeo Victor is turning left, final runway 35 to the left. Area traffic, Cessna 162 Papa Tango is about 7 miles to the northeast of the field, climbing through 6,300, climbing to 8,500 westbound, slow traffic.
Alright, yeah, that looks good. Let's turn it back to the right. You can see when you're fighting against all that P factor and torque, it's going to feel a little heavier. Got some keel effect from the gear too.
Traffic, Sky 272 Mike, modified base to final, 35, power off on 80 12.
Let's just keep the right turn coming until we're all the way to the north. That way you won't have the sun in your eyes.
Okay.
Slow by traffic, Aero November 976 with Charlie, approximately 3 miles southeast of the field, rapid descent down to 6,000.
Total traffic, trade Mike Charlie's Grantsville, 7,000 maneuvering.
What did you hit to get this there?
So the cool thing about the Garmin's is if you're ever in a panic, all you have to do is grab the big knob and go right as far as it'll go, and it brings up the nearest.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that works in the 530s and 430s both. Big knob all the way over to the right as far as it'll go, and it'll instantly give you the nearest airport.
Full traffic, Aero 76 Whiskey Charlie, 4 miles southeast of the field, climbing 6,300 to overfly midfield and set up for a downwind for 35 to left.
Okay, once we're facing kind of north here, so the sun's not bothering you too much, let's pick an outside reference point, and then we'll do a power off stall. So, okay, power off stall, let's talk our way through this before we do it. So we're going to close the throttle, right? We'll just hold that pitch attitude. The airspeed will decay. We'll continue to hold the pitch until we get the stall warning horn. Once we get the stall warning horn, it's going to be nose to the horizon, and then we're going to bring in about 30 inches of manifold pressure. It shouldn't take too much to arrest the descent. I don't want to max it all the way out because we're out here maneuvering, okay?
All right.
About 30 inches of manifold pressure, and then once we have a positive rate, we're going to bring the gear up to get rid of all of that drag, and then we'll slowly milk the flaps out, okay? So we're going to, once again, we'll bring the throttle to idle. We'll hold it till we get the buffet, stall warning horn, nose to the horizon, 30 inches of manifold pressure, and then we're going to wait until we see a positive rate of climb. Once we have a positive rate of climb, gear comes up, and then we're going to slowly milk the flaps out.
Okay.
Okay, does that work for you?
Yep.
All right, sounds good. Let's do it. Okay, there's the buffet and the stall warning. Let's go ahead and nose to the horizon. Okay, right there's fine for engine power. And then once we have that positive rate, see how it's trending up?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll bring the gear up.
Dual traffic, Aero 76.
We get rid of all that drag and all of a sudden, hey, yeah, okay, we'll get a little better. We'll start climbing better for you, and then we'll start milking those flaps out little by little.
Sky 272 Mike, turning left crossing, runway 35 to Valley.
Alright, not that different than the Archer, right? We just got to pull that gear up, right? But as far as characteristics are concerned, very similar, very similar.
Just a little bit more powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's go ahead and pull the power, let's pull the power back to about 15 inches of manifold pressure and start slowing down here. And then we're going to do a power on stall, but we're just going to simulate it with about 18 inches of manifold pressure. So we're going to slow down until we get towards the bottom of the green arc, probably about 75 knots. Once we get to 75, we're going to boost that power up to about 18 inches of manifold pressure to simulate full power. We don't want to stall this thing with full power. It'll be like this by the time we stall it, so we don't want to do that. So we're just going to simulate full power. So if we need to bring the power down even more just to slow ourselves down, we want to slow down to about that 75 or so. Hold that altitude, slow down. So we're in the clean configuration, the gear is up.
So Larry, traffic.
So we're go ahead and go 18 inches of manifold pressure.
35, touch and go. Pull up. Traffic, Scott 272 Mike's 3 miles.
Good. Okay, and then keep that ball centered, and let's just go ahead and pitch for the stall.
Dual traffic, Aero 76 Whiskey Charlie, 1.5 miles west of the field, descending to 5,300 to set up to enter downwind on a 45 for runway 35 to us.
Nice job with the rudder. Excellent job. We can start to feel the buffet. Let's go ahead and recover right there. So nose to the horizon. We'll boost in a little bit of power. Let's let that nose come down to the horizon. There we go. Start to accelerate. Yeah, normally, if this were a real stall, we'd have that power all the way in and she'd really start climbing, but since we're out here maneuvering, I don't really want to be bumping that manifold pressure way up.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing too crazy there. Excellent job staying coordinated through that maneuver, especially in a higher horsepower airplane. So well done there, Jason. Let's go ahead and keep this power back here right around this 15, 17 inch manifold pressure, somewhere in that neighborhood. And let's go ahead and note our entry heading and look out at the horizon. We'll just do a steep turn. Again, I'm not looking for check ride stuff here. All I really want you to do is kind of get a feel for the Aero. How heavy is it? All that good stuff, all right? So just a little shakedown here. Pick your entry heading and note your outside reference point, and then left or right, dealer's choice.
You can't push it to get
unfortunately not, because then it gives you a menu. A little bit different than the G1000, unfortunately. Probably going to need a lot of back pressure since she's real heavy. There we go. And that again is why we're out here, so you can really see she gets that steep bank in her and she loses a lot of altitude without plenty of back pressure and a little power in there.
You feel that on the rudder?
Yeah, a little bit. No, actually I didn't have my foot on the rudder.
Oh yeah. Definitely needs more back pressure, doesn't it?
And part of that's the T-tail, and part of that's the weight of the airplane. It's heavier than the Archer, but that T-tail is definitely kind of funky out there. It's a little bit different when we get into some of the maneuvers. Straight and level, you're not going to feel it much, but yeah, not bad. Good, good. Let's try one to the right whenever you're set up and ready.
Traffic, Aero 76 Whiskey Charlie, turning final for 35, touch and go. Swell.
Area traffic, Skyhawk 172, Romeo Victor is that one, runway 35, to up.
That one was better. I'm keeping my altitude a lot better.
Yeah, and it's just getting a feel for the airplane. That's why we're out here, you know, giving it a shake. nice job. All right, so we've done some slow flight. We did a power off stall. We did power on stall. We did some steep turns. We'll give you a little feel for the airplane. It is about 20 to 6. If you don't mind, if we're heading back, if that's all right with you.
Yep.
Obviously, we'll have more time to fly in subsequent lessons when we don't have to do an hour of ground beforehand.
Yep, no worries.
Any questions about anything that we've done so far, or anything going on in here?
No, not really. The different thing for me is, you know, the manifold pressure. I only have a few hours looking at that in the DA-40.
Sure.
So that's kind of new to me, and
traffic, Alpha 72 Romeo Victor is
probably want to right now just stay at about this altitude and probably get below 6 pretty soon, and then bring this down to 24.
Yeah, 24 is a good cruise, anywhere in there. We could actually probably even bump that manifold pressure up to, you know, 24 inches or so manifold pressure. Now that we're straight and level here on the way back home, let's actually get that fuel pump on, and then we can, let's do a tank switch.
Oh yeah, that's something I got to get used to also. I need, because the
so
Cessna...
we'll watch our fuel pressure, and that looks okay. We'll go ahead and turn the electric pump off. Yeah.
This shows fuel pressure right here.
Well, inadvertently, yes.
It'll
indirectly,
fluctuate.
I should say, because it's you know, it's showing how many gallons per hour are running through that engine.
Victor's final runway 35 will be a touch and go, and then a departure to the east.
Okay.
So you'll notice that sometimes you go to set it at 25.
Yeah.
And then the turbocharger kicks in and gives you more manifold pressure, right?
Yeah.
So there's a little turbo, what they call turbo lag. So really, when you're, especially when you're advancing, you may want to go just shy of your goal, and then the turbo will catch up and actually get you where you want to go.
I noticed that went down too really quick.
Yeah.
As soon as turbo kicks in, it uses more fuel.
Absolutely. Yep, more power, more fuel. Okay, so as we enter the traffic pattern, remember on the downwind, we're going to run a gumps check, gas, undercarriage, mixture prop switches, right?
So gas is what? Your fuel tank?
Yep, gas is on the fullest tank.
Fullest tank.
And then U is the undercarriage. We're going to bring the gear down.
Yep.
Mixture will come full rich, because in case we have to go around and really punch it, we want it to be full rich, not sputtering on it.
How soon do you do this? Before you enter the pattern?
So I like to run it on the downwind.
Okay.
And then do a quick gumps check on base, and then if nothing else, if you're really busy, just check your gear over the fence.
Okay.
Okay. I like to hear it at least, the full gumps check at least twice, and I like to hear gear, you know, 3 green over the fence. If you
3 times.
The gumps check at least twice on downwind and base, and then you say 3 green over the fence, and you've checked your gear 3 times.
Okay. Now, do we have 2 fuel gauges? That's good.
So
okay.
that's right wing, left wing, right?
Yep, and we just switched to left, so. Okay.
So that's another thing that wasn't actually on here.
Oh yeah,
but just so that you, so
enunciator.
vacuum, alternator, oil pressure, and then that's the overboost light. If we kick it up over 40, then it'll come on and say, hey, you're overboosting the engine, pull that power back.
I noticed that on X-Plane. I bought this plane for X-Plane so I could practice.
Sure.
And I noticed that coming on, so that's when you get your cylinder head temp too high?
That is when you're actually getting too much manifold pressure than the engine is designed to do. You've got that thing at full throttle, and due to a combination of the wastegate completely closing and really cold air, you're just putting too much internal cylinder pressure on those cylinders. You're over boosting the engine.
Okay.
Cooler traffic, 6272 Mike, 6 miles west of the field, 5,300, ground FM.
I think over here's warmer.
Yeah, it might be.
I put my hand over here and it feels warm. All right. Tooele traffic, Arrow 28 Mike Charlie is about 8 miles northwest of the field, almost at the Garfield stack at 7,100, heading west, last call.
We're actually eastbound, not westbound.
Oh, that's right. Correction, 28 Mike Charlie's heading east. Yeah, good catch.
This block is 65, this block is 6, and so we just need to be 6 before we head here.
Okay. Okay, so as we're coming in, as long as I'm below 24, I don't need to worry too much about shock cooling.
Correct.
If I'm over that, that's when I start slowing it down a little bit.
Yeah, so let's say you're coming back from Wendover, you and your wife enjoyed the seafood buffet out there, you're ripping back here and you're going fast. I mean, right about here is when I'd be saying, okay, if I were up around 29, 30 inches of manifold pressure, I was really pushing it to come back home, I'd start to be pulling back 1 or 2 inches of manifold pressure a minute as we slowly approach South Valley, and so that by the time we end up in the traffic pattern, we're below this range, you know, in this 23, 24 range where we can, the turbocharger's not really giving us anything anymore.
Yeah, okay. South Valley traffic, Arrow 28 Mike Charlie is at the Garfield stack, heading east at 6,900. Where do you teach?
I just freelance, so wherever anybody's like, hey, I got your number from so-and-so, which happens all the time, I say, what do you fly and where are you based?
Is that what you do full-time, or what do you do?
I actually fly corporate is my main job, and then I just do flight instruction and contract work on the side.
Who do you fly for?
I fly for USANA Health Sciences, but that job is actually ending, so I've got a guy in Spanish Fork who wants to hire me full-time, and I've got another place in Salt Lake that's, I think, is probably going to offer me a position too.
South Valley traffic, Archer, sit up to Tango approximately.
So, I have a friend in our in my ward out in Payson that flies for New Skin. You may know him, corporate jet.
Oh, really?
Jared Ringer. You know Jared?
I have heard that name, but I've never met him actually. Yeah, does he fly their Gulfstream?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. He's always getting BYU tickets for all the away games and concerts and everything.
Traffic 2 Papa Sierra, cross.
So it looks like we have a guy here
for 34 South Valley.
at 4,800 feet. He's showing 0. So let's hug a little bit further to the right here, and let's see if we can maybe avoid him. We'll keep our eyes peeled here.
Is this the volume here for
the radio? Yep.
South Valley traffic, Arrow 28 Mike Charlie is over Kennecott area, over Magna at 6,700, heading towards South Valley.
So that's
South Valley truck, copy 586, along Mountain View corridor, beam to Santa Bigger, 100 northbound.
So we look like we're headed straight for him, so let's pull real far over to the right.
Up Tango over Santa Bigger, 5,800, we'll probably be northbound, test set up for 45.
Let's descend a little bit.
Left downwind.
South Valley traffic, Cherokee 8 Juliet 5,500, we're just heading towards Woodland Mountains, about 2 miles to the east.
Cessna 490 Center 92, short final runway 34 touching go South Valley.
I don't see him yet.
And we're like,
oh, there he is.
Right at field downwind 3 South Valley.
that was close.
Yeah.
Quantum Army at west crosswind South Valley.
Jeez.
Man,
He wasn't calling out anything.
no, he wasn't. Psycho.
Crazy.
Guy's got a death wish. Wonder if they even saw us.
South Valley traffic, 201 Romeo turning left downwind 34 South Valley.
All right, so just for practice, I'm under 24, I'm okay. Don't have to worry about the shock cooling. But if I was coming in fast, that's where I would probably start slowing down, at least by now.
Yeah, you probably would have been slowing down way back there. So,
Okay.
you know, an inch per minute gives you 5 minutes. So if you're at 30 inches, you got 7 minutes before you're even in the traffic pattern, you know, to slowly pull that back an inch of manifold pressure.
What are my speeds for downwind base and final for this?
Walking backwards, we probably on final want to be about 70, and then probably about 80 on base and 90 in the downwind, I would guess, if we do it. Yeah, that's probably about right.
Okay. South Valley traffic, Arrow 28 Mike Charlie is about 5 miles northwest of the field. Gonna enter the downwind for runway 34 on a 45.
South Valley traffic, Archer 40670, turning left downwind 34.
Alright, where is he? He's just turning downwind.
South Valley 2 Papa Sierra, base on final now for 34, South Valley.
South Valley traffic, 0761 Romeo, turning base for 34, South Valley.
Him right there.
I don't see him.
Guy on the upwind? Yep, we do. And it looks like we should be coming in behind the guy on the downwind.
Okay.
South Valley Cessna 497 702 is turning left crosswind runway 34, touch and go.
There. In the mountain. He's hard to see.
Yeah.
South Valley traffic, Mosquito 1 to Romeo, turning left base to final 34, full stop, South Valley.
South Valley traffic, Arrow 28 Mike Charlie is entering the downwind on the 45 runway 34. Oh, I see him. He's behind us over here.
Yeah, I think our spacing's pretty good.
Sport Cruiser 2 Papa Sierra, departing 34 in the pattern.
South Valley traffic, Archer 406.
Okay, so
34, South Valley.
about now is when I want my gear down.
Yep, so gas is on the fullest tank, our undercarriage, we'll check our speeds, that looks good, that can come down. Let's go ahead.
Cessna 497 702 is on a left downwind runway 34, I have traffic in sight ahead of me.
Okay, gas, undercarriage, 3 green.
Passing over the brickyard, setting up to enter a left downwind.
Okay, gear down, 3 green. If I say it out loud, then that's good, right?
Six is in the
Let's go ahead and bring in a notch of flaps.
We've got the number 2 aircraft on downwind, we'll follow behind.
Gas undercarriage mixture can come full rich, and props can come full forward, and switches, fuel pump can come on. Gas undercarriage mixture, prop switches, seatbelt safety, landing lights, we'll get those in a minute. Got him, do you have him there on final?
Yes, I see him. Okay. I'll wait until he crosses my
Sport
wing.
Cruiser 2 Papa Sierra, crosswind 34, South Valley.
1 to Romeo is clear over active at Alpha 2, South Valley.
South Valley traffic, Arrow 28 Mike Charlie is turning left base for runway 34. We doing a full stop?
Affirmative.
South Valley Cessna 400 702 is still on extended downwind runway 34. I'll wait for that landing traffic ahead of me, and then I'll follow number 2, South Valley.
South Valley traffic, helicopter 586 is on downwind, will be number 3.
Okay, gear down in the green. South Valley traffic, Arrow 28 Mike Charlie is turning final for runway 34, full stop.
Yeah, so very rarely in this airplane will you want to come really far back because it's so heavy.
Yeah, you don't want to overshoot it, you mean?
It's just going to sink on you a whole lot. So when you bring that power way back to like under 15 inches, she's going to sink on you, and then you'll have to bring in a whole bunch more power. So I'd keep power in all the way to the flare on this one, just a little bit.
About 2 miles west of it. We
Very green over the fence.
802 Papa Sierra on down, we'll be behind you.
Yeah, so we'll pull out just a little bit of power here, just a bit. I know we're a little low.
Sierra, extending our downwind. We have the helicopter traffic incoming in sight.
Okay, so I wouldn't pull all the power out, just because it's so heavy. Yeah, then we'll pull the power out.
Okay.
I keep power all the way into the flare on this airplane, just because it's so heavy.
That's different.
3-4,
Yep.
I'm looking for that helicopter.
Doesn't seem to, like the toe brakes feel like they don't want to turn the plane as much. Uh-oh. Oh, shoot.
I think that fuel pump with the power so low was kind of just giving us a little too much fuel is all.
South Valley traffic, Arrow 28 Mike Charlie is clear of active runway 34. So what happened there?
So with the fuel pump on and really low RPM, I think it was just giving it too much fuel.
Is it because we were low on mixture?
No, I think it had too much fuel. We had the mixture rich and we had a...
South Valley traffic, 2 Papa Sierra is going to maneuver in the vicinity of the Oquirrh Mountain Temple.
South Valley traffic, Dr. 482, Delta Tango, left base 3-4.
Did this turn off?
It did, because that starter pulls so much power that it actually pulled the power away from the avionics.
Going right or left?
Let's go right.
Where are we? Oh, FBO, okay.
Yeah.
Hard to see with that sun.
Papa Sierra maneuvering in the vicinity of the Oquirrh Mountain Temple. Pattern altitude south.
That wasn't a bad landing for my first landing. It was
not at all.
Not too bumpy.
No, not at all. It was quite good.
So the power management is definitely different.
Correct,
during
because
the
it's a much heavier airplane, so I wouldn't ever really pull it to idle unless you were really high, because once you pull it to idle, this thing comes out of the sky like a brick.
Okay.
Hotel 2 for guard parking, final stop.
We turn in here?
So we are right next to...
That red one, I think, right?
Yeah, so we're going to have to go around and then push it back, because we're parked right next to that Tiger, the one with the cover on it, not this first next one. That's funny, I actually sold that airplane like 4 months ago for a friend.
The 150?
Yeah.
South Valley traffic, Archer 40670, turning left base 34, touch and go, South Valley.
So we can pivot in and then turn it out, and then we'll just push it back with the tow bar.
All right.
Yeah, right here's good. Hard, cause
are we on 35?
Yeah, we're 35.
Oh, I was going to 34. Sorry.
34, South Valley.
That's okay. So here we're just going to leave it at idle.
South Valley traffic, Skyline 485 Delta, 1 mile east of Salt Lake, descending through 6,300, inbound for landing, South Valley.
And we're gonna, so the taxi time counts as long as you weren't like,
right? In the vicinity of Oquirrh Mountain Temple.
We're gonna just let it run for two or 3 minutes here, since we had a minute or two to taxi in.
Oh, I
just
see.
Let
to let it
turbocharger cool down.
Okay.
Let's pull it back to 1,000 though. See how we've got about 15 inches of manifold pressure in there. We want it to be pretty close to idle.
0, turn final 34, touch and go, South Valley.
South Valley 400, 702 is left, downwind runway 34.
South Valley traffic, 2 Delta Tango, clearing active at Alpha 3, South Valley.
What does the alternate air do on this? You said that when I asked you there's no carpet, you said, but you have alternate air.
Yeah, so if we're flying in icing conditions,
South Valley traffic,
we don't really have any de-icing equipment other than the pitot heat, right?
Yeah.
But what we do have is if it starts to pack up engine around the air intake and the engine's starting to get starved of air, we actually flip that alternate air and it'll pull in air from an alternate source. You know, right now it's just pulling it in through the cowling, but if it starts to pack it in around the front end, then we use that alternate air and it'll pull that air from an alternate source, just like it suggests, in order to continue to give us that induction air.
Okay.
For combustion.
South Valley Cessna 400, 702 is turning left, base runway 34, touch and go.
Is that good, or
Yeah.
how do you know when it's cool enough?
So you don't really know, it's just a matter
wait for
of
a few minutes?
Yeah, giving it a minute or two, we're probably all right. So let's go avionics master off.
Obviously, if we were in flight, we're just touching those buttons.